Welcome to Hoensbroek Castle. This program will take you on a tour of the centuries-old building of Hoensbroek Castle. Rooms and apartments accessible to wheelchair users are marked with this sign in the program. After this program is finished, you can have a look at them if you would like to. Please enjoy yourself. Hoensbroek Castle dates back as far as the 14th century. The only section, however, that is left over is a round turret that used to be a part of a solid stronghold that was meant to defend the regional frontiers of the Duchy of Brabant. 3/4 of the present block was built in the Renaissance style of the land of the Meuse in the 17th century. When in 1717 the medieval right wing collapsed, the people residing at the castle at the time made up their minds to rebuild this section, this time in a refined French style. You are looking at the turret, also called a donjon. In the Middle Ages, round about the 14th century, this tower was used as a defense against the enemy. Its height is as many as 57 meters, and the thickness of its wall is 3 meters. We are now in the Stenen Kamer, the stone room, which was named after its stone dome-shaped vault. This room was an easy hiding place for people who had to hide themselves for some time. In the 3-meter thick wall, recesses have been cut out, provided with embrasures and seats, the so-called window sills, and even with a privy. At the bottom of the tower, the prison cell, the kerker, is to be found. In this cold and damp cellar, prisoners were locked up. Chained up in an iron straitjacket, the prisoner was forced to eat from a scooped-out wooden beam, the trough. In the tower, a very narrow spiral staircase winds its way upwards. It was hardly possible for the enemy to handle their weapons. As the steps wind their way upwards, they could not carry any pikes or spears. After having walked up the spiral staircase, you will be climbing 3 wooden flights of steps up to 3 higher levels. From the top floor, you will enjoy a magnificent view of the surroundings. After returning to the 3rd level of the tower, one has access to the 17th century section of the castle through a gallery. This part already afforded some comfort and luxury, unlike the medieval round turret with its fortress elements. In that gallery is the bedroom of the koeienmaagd, the maidservant. This room was one of the few apartments where there was no fireplace in those early days. If you were one of the servants in waiting, you had to sleep in an unheated room. Even in those days, there was a disparity between rich and poor. Passing through the gallery, we arrive at the 1st floor of the 17th century section. We are at the 1st floor entrance hall. It leads to 6 rooms. They were the bedrooms of the Count's family, and they did have fires. This is such a fireplace. This mantelpiece is made of little black fireplace bricks set in an arch shape. In another room, there is a black marble fireplace. It was rebuilt in the 18th century. In the girder, a Latin saying is inscribed, "Bene vivere et laetare," which means live a good life and rejoice. And you can rest assured that the people living at the castle did so. In the bedrooms are the so-called privies. A privy is a lavatory. The privy was flushed with water, and fragrant herbs and leaves were used to dispose of the penetrating odor. The broad stairs at the entrance hall takes us to the attic of the left section of the castle. This big attic was used as a storeroom at the time. Nowadays, among other things, it is being used as a room to stage exhibitions. When this attic was under construction, no nails or glue were used. The beams were stuck together by means of peg-hole constructions, a fine piece of carpentry. We descend the stairs to the ground floor of the 17th century section to go and have a look at the living quarters. This is Het Groot Salet, the big hall. The hall is connected with de keuken, the kitchen, and the bottelerij, the wine storeroom, by means of 2 service hatches. In the big hall, guests were entertained and Burgundian-style dinners were served. The so-called kotsgat, vomiting hole in the floor, is still proof of this. We are in de kamer in de kleine toren, the room in the small tower, a room that has some look of privacy about it. Actually the place where the Count would stay. In this room, you will notice some typical Renaissance pieces of furniture, such as this oak cupboard. De keuken, the kitchen. As you will see, they did the cooking in the kitchen in the fireplace. Here, delicious dishes used to be prepared for eminent guests and members of the family. The bailiff worked in this office, Het Kleine Salet, the little hall. He dealt with finances, the incomings and outgoings of Hoensbroek Castle. In this room, the last Count of Hunsbrook, who resided at the castle, died. The canopied bed is suggestive of the way in which the night was spent. Near the doorway of this room, there used to be a bookcase. Behind it, there is a staircase, leading up to the garderobe achter den grote toren, the wardrobe behind the big tower. This room is also referred to as the hiding place. There is a legend about Bishop Philip Damien, a brother of the Count of Hunsbrook. The bishop is said to have successfully hidden here from his enemies. He was never tracked down. We are going downstairs, that is to say, to the cellar block. These cellar blocks would be used as storage rooms. They were sand cellars, beer and wine cellars. This cellar was also used as the fridge for the castle. From the spoelkeuken, the scullery, a bucket of milk or a bucket full of cheese was lowered into the water. We leave the cellar block and the 17th century section in doing so, the Renaissance section, with pretty small and dark rooms. We are heading for the inner court. Here, under the gallery, lies the chapel. This private chapel of the Count's family dates from the 17th century. The most beautiful ornament of this chapel is, no doubt, the Baroque altar, which was probably made in Antwerp. We are going to have a look at the right wing of the castle, the 18th century section. The exceedingly high and wide windows are characteristic of the 18th century and tells us that it was quite impossible for people to defend themselves at the time as it was done in the medieval turret. You will notice this is a more luxurious portion of the castle than the medieval and the 17th century sections. All of a sudden, big windows, through which a lot of sunlight can enter. So far, we have seen only low doorways. In this part of the castle, the doorways are higher and broader. This has to do with 18th century fashion. People would wear broad crinolines and high wigs. We are now standing at the entrance hall and the grote trap, at the bottom of the large staircase. While we are walking up the stately stairs towards the green room, we will pass a number of portraits of the members of the family of Hunsbrook. In the 18th century, this room was the Count's bedroom, furnished with a green canopied bed. We are heading for the main chamber of the 18th century section, the salle. It was the reception hall of the Hoensbroek Count's family. Considering the large space of this hall, it may be taken for granted that people would dance here too. This is Neffensdanszaal, one of the antechambers beside the castle hall. In former times, guests would wait in Neffensdanszaal before they were introduced. At the same time, guests could relax here for a while, have a chat, or eat something during a ball. This is the Eetzaal, the dining hall, whose ceiling is decorated with the painting of the Roman goddess Venus, seated in her float. She was the goddess of love and happiness. Adjacent to this room is the cabinet, a small room with a rather private atmosphere. We see another painting on the ceiling here. This is a picture of Diana, the Roman goddess of hunting. This tour of Hoensbroek Castle has come to an end. We hope you have enjoyed it. If you wish, you may want to visit other rooms. But for now, goodbye for the present.